Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, Foolish Decisions That Haunt Us for the Rest of Our Lives. Foolish decisions that haunt us for the rest of our lives. A decision that you made a long time ago after elders warned you. A choice that you made after repeatedly being warned by family members and friends, that's not the way to go. Those regrets, the sadness, the depression, the escapism, anything you could do to get away from the foolish decision that you made a long time ago. Those foolish decisions haunt us because they keep coming back around to remind us, I should have never. Why did I ever? I can't believe. I'm so dumb. I'm so stupid. I'm a fool. Some went to the Heavenly Father and asked for forgiveness, as well as going to the individuals that he or she hurt and asking them for forgiveness. Others decided to drown the foolish decision making with alcohol, drugs, sexual immorality, strange fetishes, lashing out at people, being a very angry, resentful, jealous person. This is how some people coped. This is how some people are still coping. The foolish decisions that haunt us, like watching a movie that is so terrifying, so disturbing, that you can't seem to get the images out of your head. The demonic plays a game or two on your mind. He then binds your spirit so that you don't see any type of freedom, light, happiness, peace, love, contentment. No, foolish decisions only haunt those who choose to continue to hold on to those foolish decisions. Foolish decisions only last as long as you're willing to keep them around. I'm not going to keep reminding myself of what I did way back when, but you know there are those who will. Those that don't want to see you get ahead. Those that don't want to hold on to the good that you do. No, they rather hold on to the bad. The way back when. The back in the day. My past. Your past. You remember how we rolled. Yeah, but I'm not that person any longer. Oh, stop fooling yourself. You are the same person. You're just putting on airs. You're putting on a front. You're just showing off because you're with so-and-so now. I'm not going to be fooled. I'm not going to be fooled. Someone said that a long time ago. I'm not going to be fooled. Why? Because they were fooled before. Because they played that game already. That's why some people, they're not going to be played by the devil again and again, or that devil of a man or a woman, because I've seen this movie already. This was the foolish decision that I made 20 some odd years ago, and I had to pay for that decision for about 18 plus years. Come on, somebody got that story. And I'm not about to do it again. I'm 40, 50, 60 plus years old. I'll be, you know what, that I do that again. But some people learn from that mistake from way back when, but they don't learn from what they're currently doing or what they're about to do. People are warning you. The signs are all around you. The writing is on the wall. When you keep having people coming to you in so many different ways with so many different phrases, statements, criticisms, you name it, about the same old thing, you best believe you ain't learned. Come on. We got some people that are so old, and I do mean so old, I'm not sugarcoating age, so old that they should know better. But rather than know better, you know what they'll do? They'll sit back and they'll talk to young people and they'll try to justify, they'll try to validate some foolishness. And meanwhile, the young person, God will even raise up a young person to speak some truth to an old fool. I don't want what you went through, daddy, mama, sister, brother, cousin, aunt, uncle. I'm not about to go down that path. Oh, you just wait and see. Oh, you wait and see that I don't. You see, some young people rise up because they aren't being disrespectful. They're rising up because they know that there's something that's trying to stifle them spiritually. They may not know what the name is, but they know it is something that is disheartening. It's ugly. It's disappointing. It's depression. It's whatever. And they're not about to go down that path with you. So that's why some paths they will reject. They will fight up against. They'll say, I'm not doing that because it started off good for mama and daddy and cousin and so on and so forth. But then I've been around long enough to see that the ending was pretty bad. And I don't have the same personality, patience, opportunity, resources that they have to get themselves up out of the mix, out of the mess, out of the trouble, you see. So that's why they don't even bother. Case in point, a foolish decision to go off to some college, trade school, university, what have you, and you know that you didn't have the money. Then you go and you try to encourage somebody to get in that debt that you know you're not going to help them. Okay? Here's another foolish decision. Going and having sex with someone unprotected, having a baby, then wanting to get married. Come on, some of us did that. Then wanting to get married, can't get married at the time. So then you got to wait that thing out. Then when you do get married, then you have your share of regrets and you kind of wish and hope and all this other stuff. Foolish decisions. Signing a contract that's going to be 10, 15, 20 plus odd years of having to pay this one and pay that one. And then the next thing you know, that item or items ends up no longer being any good to you. You got sold a bag of tricks. It ended up being cheap. You could have got something for half the price, but you signed a contract like signing your life away. These are just examples that some of you all can relate to because you've been there, you've done it, you've seen the movie, and some of you all recently did it, and that's why you're upset, you're angry, you're going off, you're lashing out, and people don't understand what is wrong with you. Ever since you sat down with so-and-so and signed a contract, ever since you went over to this person's house, you haven't been the same. Ever since you put that money out, and now you got your regrets. Foolish decisions haunting people as we speak. This isn't any back in the day stuff. This is a right now for some people. And how are you going to get out of it? Well, it would make sense to call whoever you got to call, write whatever letter you got to write, get whatever witnesses you got to get, experts, counselors, and get yourself up out of this thing if you can. Because some things you can't get out of. That's why they haunt some folks, because they know I can't get out of this one. Now, I know this message doesn't resonate with everyone because you didn't get yourself caught up in any foolish decisions recently, but you may think back on a few things and then you just might be that wise counselor to help someone else who's going through right now, because there is that season of some folks that keep making decisions that are costing them pretty much their lives. If it's not one thing, it's another, as the older people say. Just when you thought so-and-so got out of this mess, now they done put themselves in another mess. And when you try to be the prophet or prophetess to tell them what the future holds, they tell you, shut up, be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about, because see, they're floating high right now. Everything is good. Everything's sweet. Everything's nice until trouble shows up. And sometimes God allows that trouble to show up to shake some people up, because see, when we were talking, it wasn't good enough. When we were warning people, it wasn't good enough. Some of you all, you've done this at the workplace. You've done it at the church. You've done it at the civic group. You've done it over at your family member's house or your friend's friend's house. You sat there and had that conversation that was cutting, and the person didn't receive it. And so the Lord says that you back off that thing, quit talking to them, quit advising, quit pleading, quit begging, quit trying to bail them out of everything, and just let them suffer. This is somebody's word. Just let them suffer. You keep making excuses. You keep fighting other people who are telling you that what you're doing is stupid. This person is never going to learn if you keep doing it. And all you're doing is making yourself sick. And eventually you're going to be in a hospital. And where is that person going to be? Trying to use somebody else, trying to abuse somebody else because of their foolish decisions. You see, sometimes the haunting isn't with us. Oh, no. We didn't do this or we didn't do that, right? But the haunting is there because we are empathetic, sympathetic, compassionate over somebody else's haunting. Uh-oh. Now I'm talking to this group of people. You are the ones who you see people made foolish decisions and now you want to run to their aid. And you figure that, well, you know, God would do it. Well, sometimes God doesn't, though. And that's when you've got to pay close attention. When you see that every time you reach out to help somebody, it's being rejected. Every time you go and run to somebody's aid, but they only sink deeper and deeper in trauma and drama, debt, you name it. Your help is no longer needed. Matter of fact, your help isn't even helping anything or anyone. If anything, everything that you're doing, you start to feel like it's worthless. Why am I even trying? This person isn't even appreciating. This person doesn't love me, Lord. This person doesn't like me, whatever. And the Lord is saying it's not any of that. I just want you to stop doing it because you got to allow me to work. You put that person in God's hands when you prayed. You spoke out that person's name or the family. And God says, okay, move out the way now. They're not going to receive the life lesson when you keep standing there telling them that you should, you could, you would, and all this other stuff. And meanwhile, what has that done? The speeches have amounted to what? Come on, I'm trying to get through to somebody who thinks that there's Jesus. I remember talking to a person and we were arguing about something. And I said that you need to stop acting like you're Jesus. And in the heat of anger, the individual said, oh, I am like Jesus. Excuse me? When there's so much trouble associated with somebody's so-called service, it is not a Jesus ministry. Come on. It is not. So there's no sense in deceiving oneself into believing that you're helping somebody who doesn't even want to help his or herself. If I want the help, guess what? I'm going to make up in my mind to get the help. So therefore, I'll go to the counselor, the expert, the doctor, the trainer, whoever, because I made up in my mind that's what I'm going to do. Right? The person who needs the mechanic, the person who needs the lawyer, the person who needs someone to help them through a situation, the therapist, what have you. They've got to make up in their mind to get that help. But if they don't, then foolish decisions continue to occur. And then they haunt them. They haunt those around them. And until somebody makes up in their mind they're going to stop doing certain things, make some changes, they're going to continue to haunt some folk. You see, you've got to make up in your mind, whether it's you or somebody that you know, they have to make up in their minds that they want to stop making the same old stupid decisions, choices, irresponsible, impulsive types of behavior. Some of it, as we've talked about in the past, is psychological. And somebody may need some medication or some intense therapy. And you can usher that person towards some help. But then after that, that's it. I got how many other people I need to help? I can't stand here and keep holding people's hands while they're shaking their hand away from me, cussing, fussing, having attitudes. In customer service, let me give you one more example before I close, because this is a wisdom message. And some of you all, if you need scriptures, you can go through and you can pay close attention to how Jesus dealt with people in the New Testament for some inspiration. But I will tell you that in customer service, you have those customers, and some of you all know what I'm talking about, whether it's over the phone, in person, what have you, it doesn't matter. But you got those customers who, no matter what you do, it's never good enough. They make stupid decisions, and you fix those stupid decisions, right? And they still get themselves in some kind of trouble. And how many times are you going to bail them out? Well, you know, some managers, owners, what have you will say, listen, the first one is on us. The second one, I don't think so. They're going to have to pay the penalty. They're going to have to pay the fee. The person starts cussing, fussing, talking about, I'm not doing this, that, and I will sue. And you guys got a lot of nerve. And you're supposed to be this brand name and that one. Yes, and we are. But at the end of the day, we can't continue to give you discount, refund, what have you. But people will take advantage. And some of them, after they've had their explosive episode, which was all a big old act, you'll see them later and they're sitting up there and they're laughing and smiling. They got one over on someone, you see. So you might be that one that you're helping these different people, and you've given and you've given and you've given some more. There comes a point where you got to put a limit on your giving, on your bailing out, on your counsel, on your service. Wait a minute. This is getting out of hand. I helped this person the first time. Then the second time they come and they're asking for something. Okay. I did that. The third time. All right. Let's see how this person can help his or herself, because I'm about done running for him or her. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you got some individuals that they have relationships personally where they bend over backwards to the point where they feel used. And then they do the same sort of thing in a professional atmosphere. And I will tell you from personal experience, dealing with customers, that is the stupidest thing you can do. And some people say, what? Wait a minute. Hold up. This blows everything up that I ever learned. I'll tell you why it's the stupidest thing. Because if you bend over backwards and a person who's a user and abuser sees that sort of thing, what are they going to do? They're going to keep on coming back for more. But if they see that you don't have that weakness in you where you're making them a god, you're bowing down at the throne of the king or queen, they're going to be hesitant about asking you for 2 and 3 and 5 and 7 more favors, you see. With some people, you got to be firm from the door. There is no going above and beyond, bending over backwards. Because they show disrespect, disregard. They were ugly with you from the start. So now you got to let them know. This sort of behavior is not going to be tolerated. There are consequences to this sort of behavior. And I am sorry that things happened in the way that they happened. And then you go on and you counsel them in such a way so that they don't make that error again. But some people will. And once again, you want to be the individual that is not the weak one, the one that's sitting up there saying that, yes, you are king and you're queen and I'm going to run and I'm going to do this, that, and the other because that's what. No. That's what who's told you. Where'd you learn that one? This is why some relationships, you got an abuser and you got the victim. Because somebody long ago said, you have to do everything I tell you. And some individuals carry that sort of thing into their personal as well as professional relationships, even if it kills them. I'm trying to save somebody right now in the name of Jesus. God didn't tell you do all that. I'm not talking about those folks who they do 1 or 2 things and then they don't do anything for 10, 15 plus years. I'm talking about the ones who every time you turn around, they are always working their tail off to make somebody happy. And yet the only thing they get in return is cussing, fussing, nastiness. God didn't tell you to stay in that position and make yourself sick over people's foolish decisions, life decisions, health decisions, parental decisions, monetary decisions, pregnancy or not pregnant decisions, people make so many different decisions that eventually cause so many problems, not just for themselves, but for others. And I understand why some people work so hard to try to keep from people's decisions affecting other people's lives. But there are some things that you just cannot prevent. And so this is where you've got to get other counselors involved if you know you are simply burnt out with it all. This is where you've got to redirect your attention elsewhere, more specifically on the one true God, because you're running on fumes, some of you all who are spiritual. You're running on fumes because you have done far too much. God saw what you did in the past, in the present, and God also says, hand me over those burdens. I want to make those burdens light for you. So that is it. Someone be encouraged this day. Blessings to you. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Subscribe, like, comment. And once again, may God be with you.